No.
Yes, what is your question in the back?
I have a
wig.
No.
Which one?
Yeah, that's a bad question. Yeah, in an anime convention, that is not a way to distinguish people.
How many?
With the blonde wig with the spike right here.
Is that Ned?
Knowing how, yeah.
Shrimp.
Knowing how very colorful Vic can get when he's on a tirade as either Edward or Lockie, would you purposely make him do that during shoots or between shoots just to see him go off?
Well, I never directed Vic, so I have no idea how I would torture him in the booth. But I'm sure I would find some way.
Sean Schimmel.
Sean Schimmel tortures us in the booth, so don't worry about it. Yeah, that's what I would do. I'd have Sean Schimmel come in 2 hours before Vic. And I would feed him burritos.
Thai food.
Thai food. And some barbecue and say, have at it. Enjoy. Fresh that room up for Vic. And then Vic would come in and go, okay, let's do some recording now. Okay, gotta close the door. Oh my God, what is that smell? That's my impression of Vic. Yes, he sounds like a 2-year-old little girl. Oh my God! He does not sound anything like that. For those of you at YouTube who may judge me for this. Yes?
Have you ever been able to do recordings in a group like they do in Japan?
No, because Japan, they don't care if they match mouth flaps or not. And we do. So we have to, and we've set a precedent with that here. And Japan is well accepted. They don't care if the actors match it. But if we did it here that way, we would get letters. So we have to record one at a time. And it's very difficult, I mean, especially if you're the first actor going in, because you have no idea how someone before you is going to say that line, but you have to react to it thinking about how they would say the line, you know? It's really cool if you're the last person to record, because then you go in there and you got everyone else to play off of, and you sound like the most natural person on the show. When I was directing Lupin III, now we did not do the TV show, we did the movies for Funimation. We had like 11 of them. And I directed all but one and played Lupin. So I actually went in and took all of Lupin's lines and I recorded a real rough track of them and let the actors play off of my rough track. And then I went back in and re-record, play it off of them. So it's probably the best chemistry you could hear in anime is to check out the Funimation Lupin III movies. Crisis in Tokyo, or Tokyo Crisis, I don't remember what they finally went with. That's probably one of the best ones. But check them out, because it's really, really good vocal chemistry. But generally, we don't have the luxury to do that. We got to get shows out. I mean, there's a schedule to be met. So we just do the best we can, you know. But with Lupin movies, they just put me on an island somewhere and said, you know, just do what you want. Yeah?
How come there was never an English dub for Lupin versus Conan?
I'm not allowed to talk about that yet. So.
Ooh.
I have no idea. I have no idea.
Lies.
That would be really cool. That would be a really cool thing to do. Wouldn't it be a really cool thing to do? Yeah. Yes, there is. Actually, for those of us who've been doing this for many years, we actually got to the point where we can improvise to flaps. And with Lupin especially, because I had Chris Sabat, you know, was playing Jigen, and I had Mike McFarlane playing Goemon, thank you. And so Meredith McCoy was playing Fujiko. So we had these people who had years of experience, and I told them, look, the script is just a rough draft. You know, if you want to do something different, as long as the intention is the same and you can do it better, please do it. And they could improvise to the flaps, and I could too. So it was really cool experience. And also it helps, you know, like, because sometimes the scripts don't quite match the flaps because the writers aren't in the booth, you know, they're at home trying to match it as best as possible, but they're not saying these things out loud. You know, there's counting flaps and going, okay, probably this, right? So when you're in the booth, a lot of times it doesn't match. But if you can improvise to flaps, a lot of us can just come up with something on the fly and say, what about this? And the director goes, yes, thank you. Use that. So it helps you get cast more too, because they know that you're going to help production go faster, because you know how to keep things moving along, even when it's not written well. Yes? When you started voice acting in Dragon Ball Z, was Krillin your first choice? Yeah, I think so. It's the one I really wanted. But no, I lie. At first it wasn't, because it wasn't in my sides. I got a folder that didn't have him in it. So I didn't even know that was a character, you know? And then that was the first show, and they actually did let us watch the original cast, because the original cast was from Canada, right? It was Ocean Group. And we had to try to sound like the Ocean Group people. They wanted us to sound exactly like them. So I saw Krillin up there on one of the sides, but I went, well, he's not in the folder, so they must have cast him, so I didn't even look at him. So I was going for these other parts. And then when I went in there to record, they said, okay, can you do Krillin? And I went, Krillin? Oh, that's not in my folder. And they said, oh, well, here's a copy of the sides. And I said, well, I didn't get to see him. You know, I didn't pay attention to him because I thought he's already cast. And he went, well, he's just kind of nasally, you know? And so I did something, and I don't know what I did, but I got a call from Chris Sabat a week later, and he said that, we want you for Krillin, but it's up between you and another actor. And you're a better actor than he is, but he sounds more like the original Krillin. And I said, well, dude, I didn't get to see it. And I told him the story, and he said, okay, I tell you what, we'll have another audition, and we'll let both of you come out and see the sides again, and we'll see the original cast and do it. So I got to watch it, and then I nailed it, because at that point I really wanted that part, right? And I got the voice down, but back then he sounded like this. I was, hey Goku, wait up! I mean, that was Krillin's voice, right? So I did it, and I got the part of Krillin. So yeah, I definitely wanted that, because it was a big challenge, you know. But what's funny is that years later, Chris Sabat gave me a tape, and he said, you should listen to this. This is your audition for Krillin, you know? And I listened to it, and it sounded like this. I mean, I had actually come up with a voice in the audition that I ended up keeping, you know? Because at first, you know, they're trying to get us to sound like all the original characters, but I was the only one that the director, Barry Watson at the time, let me do a different voice. He said, dude, that sounds just like Terry Clausen, but I hate that voice. Can you do something else? And I was like, well, what do you want? He goes, well, you know, Krillin is a midget, but he's the world's strongest person, you know? Can you make him sound tougher? And I went, because Popeye is my favorite character of all time. And I said, about like Popeye on helium. He goes, what do you mean? I went, I don't know, something like this. Come on, let's go, guys. And he went, yeah, that sounds pretty good. let's do that. So, and Barry had an interesting accent, by the way. So, yeah, he's a Texas director, so yeah. So we went with that. So I was actually very fortunate to be the only Dragon Ball Z cast member that got to do my own voice, you know, that I got to create my own voice for Krillin. And at first, the hate mail was coming back. It doesn't sound anything like Krillin, you know? And then the second season, we became number one. Not only did we become number one, we became the highest rated animated TV show in American history. I mean, we beat out the frickin' Simpsons, you know?